It is time. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another video, and today's video is one of my favorite videos that I do every year, and that is the annual hashtag AskTemplar74 end-of-year Q&A for 2024. Now, before I get into the questions, I do want to re-emphasize this. I know I do it every single year, but I really do mean it. This one and the mid-year Q&A are two of my favorite videos that I do every year. I genuinely look forward to doing them, and yeah, it just gives me a chance to interact with you guys a little bit more than what I normally do. And that's what makes these videos special, I think. The other thing that I want to touch on is I cannot believe that 2024 is almost over. Where did this year go? Oh my gosh, it flew by. But all that being said, I digress. And yeah, before we get into the questions, I just want to say I hope everybody had a great 2024. Here's to an awesome 2025. And here we go. Okay, first up, we have Super Pelicido 1. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. First of all, you said have a great holidays. Same to you. And then here were your questions. Number 1, did you watch Jump Festa? If so, what did you think? Your second question was, how do you feel about the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush is almost over? And 3, are you interested in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Lore anime? Okay, so mostly all Yu-Gi-Oh! Questions here. That being said, I did not get to watch Jump Festa live this year because I was busy with other things, but I did see a lot of the highlight reels. Yeah, even though I didn't watch it myself personally, I was genuinely happy with Jump Festa. It basically was pretty much what we all expected it to be. We got more information about the Card Lore anime, which was nice, and overall I really did enjoy it from what I saw. Again, I didn't get to watch it live this year. Hopefully next year I'll be able to. Your second question was, how do I feel about the fact that Go Rush is almost over? Now, it's weird because by this time, this is the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime that we've had since Reigns that has gone over 100 episodes. You think about that for a second. For 20 plus years, we had shows that went 100 plus episodes. You had a couple, or you even had one that went 200 plus episodes. And then you got Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s that didn't even break the 100. And then you've got Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. So, yeah, I thought after Reigns we were going to see progressively smaller and smaller Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes. And I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s was kind of the outlier here. And I almost want to say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush and Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s are pretty much combined, because Go Rush is basically the, how would you say it, the prelude to Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. All that being said, though, I genuinely do like Go Rush a little bit more than I did 7s. 7s was picked up really well at the end. Go Rush has been kind of all over the place, but it has had some down points and it's had some up points. But I'd say overall I am kind of liking Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush a little bit more than Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. That said, there are still major plot holes in this that need to be filled before Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush ends. And I'm just hoping that if Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, when it ends, rather, not if, but when, we get all these plot holes filled. Because if not, and we jump into another Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime without getting all these plot holes filled in that we've been waiting for since 7s, I think I might ever love and flip out. But, yeah, overall, I would say I've been a little bit softer on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush than Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. I'm kind of disappointed that it's coming to an end. I just hope that they're able to do it well. And then your third question is, are you interested in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Lore anime? Short answer, yes. Very much interested. I've been wanting this for years. In fact, I've honestly been wanting this ever since the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, when they stopped incorporating the card lore into the actual anime. It's debatable that they've done that here and there, but it's just not been as well done as some of the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. And yeah, it's just, this is such a cool concept, and I cannot wait to see it flushed out. Super excited for it. So anyway, those were your questions, and I hope you had a great holiday. Thank you for submitting them, and I'll talk to you next time. Next up, we have, oh boy, Arturo Sanchez Rojas 3352. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Usually I do pretty good with that one, but yeah, I don't know why I'm thinking I'm mispronouncing that. You basically say, hope you've had a 2024, and you've already kind of thrown it out there that if I mispronounce it, I am forgiven. So thank you for that. And same to you, I hope you had a safe 2024. Next up, we have, if you played GGO for the first time, who would you like as a drill instructor? Can be anyone. Go wild. Oh boy. Quite honestly, I couldn't tell you who I would want as a drill instructor. There are some really good choices for what we could use as a drill instructor. I tend to have been on the more strict side of drill instructors. When I was going through the police academy, I had one that was extremely strict as well. And then my first command sergeant, I'm convinced the man never even knew my real name. I'm not on that department anymore, so I can honestly say that. He basically called me something that would get me in trouble on YouTube. So, yeah, strict, firm, but fair. That's what I'd like to see in a drill instructor. There are so many good choices, and it's just nuts on who you could pick. Honestly, if we're picking any GGO character, I would want probably, I know it wouldn't be an option, but I'd probably want either Sinon or Lin, or heck, I would even take M. All three of them have good qualities. It's just, it's weird, you know? Your second question is, which Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster archetypes do you like have its own miniseries? I'm pretty sure that that's tying into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Lore anime. Yeah, pretty much we've already known that we're going to get Dark Magician Girl, Blue Eyes. Honestly, Nostalgia is saying I'd like to see more on the Red Eyes archetype. There is some from further on series like Cyber Dragons and etc. in series that are later on. But yeah, the big one that comes to my mind is Red Eyes, because that's one I've had ever since Duel Monsters. Yeah, so there is that. That was probably the top of the list, but there are others as well that I'm just drawing a blank on. And then number 3, if you were able to create a new archetype for Yu-Gi-Oh!, what would the lore of it be? Again, it can be anything. And then best of luck with your goals for 2025, and always stay cool. So it's interesting because you've got so many options for developing an archetype for Yu-Gi-Oh! You could do Spellcaster archetype. You could do dragons. I feel like dragons, and this is kind of being this is kind of probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think dragons are a little bit overused. Quite honestly, if I was to build an archetype, it'd probably be around Leviathans, and different serpent-type beasts, which is weird because I have a phobia of snakes, but that's beside the point. And it's also kind of funny because when I play Magic the Gathering, I use a Serpent Leviathan deck. I am kind of partial to the Leviathans when we get them in Yu-Gi-Oh! And snakes, and it's weird because, like I said, I've got a phobia of snakes in real life, so I don't understand that. If anybody here in a philosophy or psychology role could kind of explain that to me, I'd be genuinely curious as to why that is, but we may never know. So anyway, those were your questions. I hope I answered them, and I hope you have a great 2025, and I hope you stay cool as well. All right, next up we have JetHawk74, and you had 2 questions for this. Number 1, will any Pokemon podcast discussion return along with your friends in CXY Anime? Now, I've never said never to ever doing another Pokemon anime podcast, at least, and especially not with my friends from the XY days. If any of them are still around on YouTube, and I'm not entirely sure there are, because I think like I did discussions with Amor, Luke, Sanji. I did one with, but it never got aired. But I've had discussions. Any of them, if any of them are ever around or want to do another one, I am always open to it. I'm still here. I'm still willing to talk about Pokemon with anybody that will listen. So the invitation's open. But nobody's ever reached back out to me to ever want to do another one, which is fine too. But it's just those discussion podcasts, while they're fun and I like doing them because I like having a debate with somebody rather than just me sitting in front of a camera and telling you what my thoughts are, it's always fun to have different perspectives and to debate and just to have fun, because honestly, that's what the hobby's about. It should always be about just having fun and about something you genuinely enjoy. Those podcasts, though, took an incredible amount of time. They took logistics, they took planning, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but the amount of work that went into them, I honestly couldn't say that I could do a bunch of them. Like maybe one or two here or there by myself, maybe. But they were just so damn difficult to put together and so time consuming. And time is one thing that I really don't have much of anymore, which is unfortunate. But like I said, I've never said that it'll never happen. And I hold the invitation out openly to anybody that wants to. I'm willing to do it. It's got to be something special, and it's one of those things. So I'll never say never. Right now, I can't honestly say if or when they would come back. I'm hoping that in 2025 I can do some by myself, and I would love to have a different perspective. I'd love to have somebody join the discussion. So that's always open. That's always a possibility. But right now, I don't know when that'll happen or if it'll happen. But I'm hopeful, and I've got some ideas. And then your second question was, who were your most hated rivals of Pokemon in Yu-Gi-Oh! You dislike with their attitude? Yu-Gi-Oh's easy. I still hold deep in my heart that the worst rival we've ever had, and I would argue that he wasn't even the real rival of it, was Chaz. He was like the worst that Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever threw out there. I genuinely liked every Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival except him, and I would go so far as to say that he wasn't even really a rival. He was just more of an annoyance and recurring character, kind of like, what's his name from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5? I can't think of it right off the top of my head. The Abyss Actor Duelist. It'll come to me. But, yeah, anyway, that's just kind of how I viewed it. Pokemon, there have been a few. I would say probably the rival that I've liked the least. I can't even say that I liked him the least, or I liked her the least, because it actually is a girl rival. It would be probably Bianca and the ones in Black and White. I just love shit piling on Black and White. That's what I'm always accused of. There were some things I liked in it, but not a whole lot. But I'd say the Black and White rivals were probably the worst, and the worst flushed out, and the ones that I disliked the most. But again, that could just be me. Paul actually kind of redeemed himself a little bit at the end of Pokemon Journeys. But all that being said, though, I digress. Those are my thoughts on the rivals between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. But anyway, Jethawk, those were your questions. I hope I answered them. I hope you had a good 2024 and have a great 2025. And now we have Jessica Friedman. You say, would you like to see the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series have a female protagonist, just how Pokemon has one? And if there was one question Pokemon should have answered before Ash left, which you have picked, and if you could have fixed Ash's final arc in the anime, what would you have done? Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh! I would argue that they do sort of have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Female protagonist right now. I know she kind of turned villain, but I would pretty much say that the Odo twins and Udius are all protagonists. Not the main character, but they're all the main protagonists, and that would include Yuumu. And I think right now Yuumu is probably the closest we've gotten to a female lead in Yu-Gi-Oh! That being said, yeah, I'm all for it. I'd love to see Yu-Gi-Oh! Jump on that bandwagon, because Pokemon's done it, and Pokemon's actually done really well with Liko. There have been speculations and murmurs that she is going to be phased out and replaced again at the end of Horizons, but that's neither here nor there. And right now, it was from that leak, and whether that's actually going to happen or not now is anybody's guess, so I don't know why people are still speculating on that. But yeah, they've done well in Pokemon. They could do really well in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd say so far Yuumu is probably the closest we've gotten. But yeah, and Yuumu is no secret one of my favorite characters out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Having a female protagonist. And now on to your Pokemon. You had, if there was one question Pokemon should have answered before Ash left, what would it have been? Okay, so the main question I have is basically, what was Ash's wish on Ho-Oh? I know that that's been kind of elaborated before, but the answer has changed whether you've watched the movies. It's changed here, there, everywhere. It's been different all the way around. We finally did get a definitive answer on what the definition of being a Pokemon Master was, which was good. But just what was Ash's wish on that day was probably the biggest one that I have, because that's changed so much just through the past 20 years of the Pokemon anime, and it's never been definitively answered once and for all. That is one thing I would have liked to have seen done. And then if fixed Ash's final arc in the anime, what would I have done? Honestly, that arc, that last hurrah of the Pokemon anime with Ash as the protagonist was such a wasted potential. I would probably argue to go back and rewrite most of it, because there were only like a few points of it that I would have actually kept. I would have liked to have seen Ash revisit. I know it would have taken a little bit longer, but I would have liked to have seen Ash kind of revisit his adventures, reflect a little bit more. It's just the way that it was written and paced out was just all over the place, and I was not a big fan. So, yeah, I would probably do that. Yeah, and I probably also would have put in a celebration for Ash, because, I mean, he is the world champion now, and basically we got him, Misty, and Brock having one last hurrah together, one last arc together for a few episodes, which, I'll be honest, played on the nostalgia factor. But Pokemon is so much more than just those first three. They could have done so much more, and they didn't, and it was such a wasted potential, and it is what it is. But yeah, that's probably what I would have done. Yeah, so anyway, Jessica, I hope that answered your questions, and I hope you had a great 2024 and have an amazing 2025. All right, and with that was all the questions submitted to the annual hashtag AskTemplar74 end-of-year Q&A for 2024. Like I said, this is one of my favorite videos to do of all time during the year. I really do enjoy interacting with you guys. And yeah, hard to believe 2024 is almost over. As I allude to after every single question that I answer, I hope that everybody had a great 2024 and will have an even better 2025. Try to stay optimistic, let the goods outweigh the bad, all that good stuff. But anyway, as always, this will probably be the last video for 2024, so I will see you guys all in 2025. And in the meantime, hope everybody had a great holiday and everybody has an amazing day. And as always, I will talk to you next time. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye, everybody.